quick FYI. The material on this channel may seem inconsistent at times. As a gamer, I enjoy a wide range of content from simulation racing to AAA titles to indie games. I will continue any game or story as long as it still has my attention, but may drop it if I feel there is nothing keeping me on the topic. If there is any particular series you want me to continue, leave a comment and I may continue. Maybe. Hello everybody, Dark Coyote 82 here, and today we're going to be looking at our FIA Round 3, in which we have Group 2 vehicles going around the Red Bull Ring and Group 3 vehicles going around Tsukuba Circuit. I have to admit I find this kind of curious. I find both of these tracks very tight and compact, and we put the fastest vehicles that we could probably put on there. So of course, naturally, we're going to be starting off with the FIA Nations Cup here with our Group 2 machinery. Red Bull Ring, I have to say, this is a track that I actually do enjoy a whole lot, even though I don't exactly pull the best of results out of it. It has a whole number of interesting corners that I wouldn't say I have too much of an issue with. A lot of straights in which you can get a nice draft out and then certainly utilize them to your advantage out of. But anyway, really this isn't a course to be afraid of. I don't really think there's anything too much to worry about on this course, other than the people themselves. Somebody just gets a little too intimidated and just decides to leave, just says, I can't do this is too much, so they head on out. That's fine, that's one more position to not worry about. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start our qualifying lap here. So you're going to notice that my time remaining is a little bit lower than where it actually should be. That's because I had a whole lot of traffic around me, I was getting compromised, so I decided to reset. Maybe I should have just gone ahead and stuck with them, because this is going to get a little bit weird here in a minute. I, for the life of me, can't understand why on earth Gran Turismo has left this the way that it is. The way that when you're setting a qualifying lap around here, everybody around you is still solid for you to catch a draft off of, for you to bump, for you to get penalties for. This guy eating shit on the wall. But it's going to happen right up here. We're stuck behind the one other Nismo from the 08 era. And I thought this would make us brothers, but he just kind of parks himself in front of me, and I'm very surprised at how easily he slides out of the way, but I'm also surprised by the penalty. Okay, we've gone ahead and we have now reset. I now have only 3.5 minutes left to set a time. That should be enough for a couple of laps, I would dare say. So, whatever. Alright, here we go. I'm up behind the Lexus up here, and got a little bit weird on the exit here. That was kind of on me. I think that's going to take off about half a second of what could have been, maybe a little less than half a second, but whatever. What's going to add even more time is the fact that this Lexus just kind of parks himself right in front of me here on the exit, and I know it's not something he's doing on purpose. Now I'm kind of being one of those assholes that think just because I'm faster, then I should get free passes. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to sneak on by him here. I have to admit, that is my favorite corner to do passes, and it seems like that is the one where I always manage to pull it off. Maybe that's just why I like this corner. I actually know where to pass people, unlike most corners where I just kind of dive in and hope for the best. Anyway, let's go ahead and see what kind of lap time I get. 125, alright, okay, well, it's something, but I can do a whole lot better than that. Let's go ahead and see what I can do with Poot the Ninja in front of me here. I don't know why, but I stick right behind his ass on that corner. I could have done that a little bit better, but that's okay, because this is where I'm going to go ahead, open that door up. I'm going to get past him too. We bump each other, but the game doesn't even care. It says, you know what, let's go ahead and bump that SR up a small touch, because that was just awesome. So, is it enough to move me up? Yes, it is. Alright, there we go. 4th place, although it's going to adjust over time. I don't have enough time to go ahead and cross again. But anyway, not too bad in an older vehicle, because if you look, everybody's got almost a decade over me. I certainly have some work in front of me that I've got to do, but before we do that, let's go ahead and all stand for the anthem of the FIA Nations Cup. Absolute music to my ears. Anyway, here we are, Red Bull Ring. ready to go racing, having a nice rolling start here. Let's go ahead and take a look at that beautiful starting lineup of ours. So here we go, driving in a Nissan that's almost a decade older than everybody else. I feel like the trade-off here, the newer generation handles corners better, while the older generation has a little bit more speed. This is the course that I thought that would actually kind of have this split half and half, but clearly I was wrong. Clearly everybody decided that the newer generation was better. So I'm just going to have to hold it together in corners and just make it work. But anyway, that's fine. So, I have to admit, one thing I've learned about myself that I'm trying to cover up, I'm way too passive on the first corner, because I just want to survive, and just this guy takes advantage and just passes me immediately. Pretty good pass, I have to admit. Alright, so all things considered, everything went pretty well on this first lap here. So you can see we're very nice and evenly spaced out, no real issues here. I'm going to be creeping up behind the guy up front, but he's not the reason why I'm going to move up 2 positions. We're going to have 2 back-to-back, but you're going to see this Nissan right up here go way too far in. He's going to get himself in the sand trap, so that's 1 position gained. I think there's a battle going on up ahead between Q3 Autosport and TS Simulators, I believe. The Lexus is going to lose out by Q3 Autosport. He's out as well, so that's 2 positions gained without really any work having to go into it whatsoever. So far sticking to Colt 45 just fine. Him and his Gatorade machine in front of me here. He's going to try to suicide dive past 3rd place, but 3rd place is going to kind of cut him off here. Turns out 3rd place, Ribs as I'm going to call him, he was actually getting those hard tires out of the way. That was actually a pretty good strategy. I probably should have thought of that, but whatever, that's not what I decided to do. I'm up next to Colt 45. I could try that suicide dive, but I'm not as skilled around this corner as everybody else because those sausages on the side managed to screw me up. So I'm not going to kill him, I'm not going to kill myself, I'm not going to put our SR at risk here. So you can laugh at me all you want for me and my passive-aggressive driving style. I take pride in it, and I'm going to try to figure out a way to get past him cleanly, but it's only going to get me so far. I do realize that. On the topic of clean passes, or lack thereof, I didn't even notice Justin P3 behind me in the purple Nissan. He's managed to catch up. He's going to give me a small love tap back here. I didn't even realize I was braking a little too early. I actually had to go back and watch the replay to see that, but I was a little bit frustrated, but then within just a couple of turns, I'm almost going to do the same to him. But I'm going to turn my love tap into a suicide dive. He probably wasn't expecting me to come out of nowhere. So, we're going over the starting line again. Let's see if we actually learned anything. This time he's going to creep up next to me. He's got better legs, I'll just have to give him that. And I'm going to give up the position because there's only so much I can bottle him up behind me. I don't think I'm going to be able to have that last for 12 more laps without something stupid happening. And while we're on the topic of something stupid happening, let's see how he handles Colt 45 in the Gatorade machine. He sweeps on the inside, then Colt's on the inside. Everybody's just going all over the place. I get messed up. I don't even know what the hell is happening in front of me. I couldn't even process it. But finally, with all that, Justin P3 is ahead, back where he belongs in 3rd place, leaving us plebeians behind. We're going to try to stick to him here around this hairpin. He's going to get a little bit wide. And Colt is going to be right up on his bumper, but in the end it's not enough. Finally he's back in his home and we are back to fighting each other like the cretins that we are. So, now moving ahead, Colt 45 and I have been having all this tussle back and forth. I want to see if maybe I can try to fake him out, see if he's paying attention. Sweep wide, kind of blocks me off, but I end up sliding out of it. And with that, suddenly it's just off. I don't know what the hell happened, but suddenly it's just disappearing off into the horizon. And then all of a sudden that momentum's then gone. And I am right back on him once again. So for a brief 5 seconds I thought that I had lost 4th place, but here we are again. So now Colt 45, and I'm going back and forth a little bit too much now. He's going to defend the inside, even though I'm clearly not there. He's going to park himself on the apex. I give him a small tap, pass him, and the game gives me a second penalty. Looking back on it, I guess I probably should have just held up, but man, he just parked himself right there and just really was holding both of us up at that point, so I don't really think that strategy was all that great. So now we're both going to end up losing time, me losing a little bit more time than needed, but with only a second penalty, this is going to put me right behind him once again, so this just puts us right back to square one, so I don't really feel like this was anything accomplished on either side. If there's a lesson to take away from this, is that sometimes patience pays off. You just have to wait for your opportunity to open up to you here. Colt 45, I don't know what happened on that first corner. It looked like he did okay, just he hit it really slow, and now I'm right next to him, approaching. I'm going to call this upcoming one turn 2. I think in reality it's turn 3 or 4, but whatever, I don't really care. Anyway, I'm right next to him. This time I'm not going to let him by. Instead, I'm going to block off any hopes that he has of passing me. And now he's going to sit behind me for a little bit. And finally, I'm back in 4th place. And with that, Colt 45 will no longer be an issue to me. However, I'm going to have a new contender here. You can see behind me now that Ribs has now caught up. He is right behind me, and he's going to be my new problem. However, first of all, we're almost halfway through this race, and my medium tires are just spent. So we're going to get this knocked out. We're going to take out these exhausted tires and put a new set of bad boys in. I'm going to pull into the pits. My pit crew, they are not wearing matching attire whatsoever. Thanks, guys, whatever. Gonna come on out. Look right behind me. Ribs is right there. I think once we actually get out of the pits, it's gonna be a half-second difference in between us. That is a very slim margin. And it gets even worse. He's right up my tailpipe. I can see him creeping around on my outside. I'm gonna brake a little bit early, but I'm gonna hold him off over to this side. Small bump in between the two of us. Didn't really mean for anything to get too sour, but I think he must have touched the sand trap because suddenly he just drops way behind. Is that enough to keep him at bay? No, not really. He's flashing his lights at me, trying to get my attention, even though I don't have my rearview mirror active. Nonetheless, here we are. We're going to fast forward to lap 11 now. I'm spending more time looking at the course map, watching him creep up behind me, and I brake way too late. I'm going to go on the outside. He should have had a very easy pass, but instead he's going to end up T-boning me on the right side, and he's going to get a second penalty for his trouble. So, I don't know why on earth he's flashing his lights, even though he's the one ahead. Nobody's actually seeing this. It's a nice, clean air in front of us. But with that, I'm going to take my pass, and I'm now in 4th once again. Now he's got to do that all over again. So now I've managed to keep Ribs at bay. And I would say I've done so very successfully throughout this. But, of course, in stereotypical Gran Turismo sport fashion, the game is going to just piss all over my efforts as I watch on in horror. I see him darting around behind me as we're approaching the hairpin. I cover the inside. I brake, he bumps me, and the game decides, that's your fault for braking in a braking zone. Clearly you were trying to brake check him. I don't know how I feel about that, but he's going to get by me, dropping me back down to 5th. And with that, I think that's going to just about cover my race. I don't feel like talking about this any longer. All in all, I will say that for a vehicle that was a decade older than everyone else, I got a pretty good position out of it, 5th place. Could have been 4th, but whatever, we're just going to have to move on, I suppose. So I will also say that I think part of the problem here is that I actually know next to nothing about Group 2 vehicles. I don't really care for the class altogether. It just has 6 cars. Originally it was just 3. So maybe I can do better on Tsukuba Circuit here in the Manufacturer Series, where we are going to be using Group 3 machinery. That's right, we're using Group 3 around this super tiny, bite-sized, candy-ass course. I wish I was a fly on the wall over at Polyphony Digital to hear whenever they were discussing which vehicles are going around which tracks for each of the series. Because the guy that had this idea, I want to know if he still has his job. because you are putting some pretty fast vehicles around the most claustrophobic course that you could ever imagine. This takes me back to like Battlefield 3 Close Quarters, in which it was just complete and utter chaos, just carnage. This is designed to kill our SR. Undoubtedly. This is too much. But whatever. We're just gonna have to go without bumping anybody. Okay, I know. I'll go ahead and reset. Alright, back on course. The 4GT. Probably the worst car that you could bring to this track. Actually, hold on, wait, I'm sorry. The second worst vehicle you could bring. The absolute worst would be the Ferrari, as this guy finds behind me. Mostly being that just the Ferrari Group 3, the most that you have in terms of traction control is maybe a prayer, and hopefully a response from God. However, I wouldn't count on that. But anyway, I'm just going to go ahead, slip back into the pits. I'm going to swap over to a fresh set of soft tires. The reason why I'm doing that is because I'm hoping that that last little sliver of health that I gained back will be enough to close up this half a second gap in between me and first place. Because this is a really tight course and you have to make every corner count. So here I am behind the chrome pink Wayne Enterprise Aston Martin. I'm going to be ready to kill him in the next minute. Porsche, however, Porsche was really considered. He casted gaseous form. It's a level 6 spell. He casted gaseous form, and I'm able to go through him because he's on the ethereal plane. Very nice and considerate of him, despite the fact I don't know how he did that. Honeybun, however, I'm not going to get that because he's going to be parking himself on every apex. Just, I cannot get past him for the life of me. He's going to do so once again. I probably should have just swept over to the inside and pushed him off, but once again, my passive-aggressive ass going to do that. I passed by a Subaru that was grazing in the pastures off to the right. Still stuck behind him, parks himself on the apex again. Trying to weasel by him, can't figure anything out here. He slides out. It's like he's convinced that he wants me to just jump on a railroad spike and just end myself out of frustration. A BMW is now going to enter this mix. So, look at that. These two are actually right next to each other on the leaderboards here. 13th and 14th. BMW decides that maybe this guy has a better chance. Maybe if I just off him. Gives him a small tap. That's all it's going to take for me to get by him. I'm just going to take whatever I can get. Slip by him. I couldn't even process it right. I brake way too late, and I'm on the outside, but I'm just going to sweep back across. I see his shadow. I don't even care. Just come at me, bro. I'm not going to take your shit anymore. So, all of that wasted time, I do get a faster lap, but is it enough to move me up? No, of course the hell not, because I got caught up in this damn pissing game the entirety of the way. So, 7th place, whatever. I'm just going to have to make this work. I have a few positions I'm going to have to make up. But anyway, let's go ahead and all stand for the national anthem of the Manufacturer Series. Ah, damn, vocals coming through on that. Crystal clear as always, gotta love it. Anyway, so here we are looking at the starting lineup for Tsukuba Circuit. Let's go ahead and run this on down real quick, see who we've got. So of course you realize that you see a whole lot of familiar and interesting faces on the track. I never thought that we would have one of Disney's most beloved characters, the Prince Simba, here among us. I'm right now racing absolute royalty. That's pretty crazy. but he's not going to see me because I'm nowhere even close to the front and never will be. Let's get that out of the way. But one thing I can take pride in is that I've never made a mistake before I even crossed the starting line, before turn 1. That has never happened to me before. And, you know, God forbid the day that it does happen, because I think I'll just go ahead and turn off my YouTube channel, unplug my computer, and I'll just curl up into a fetal ball on my bed and just not wake up, because, God, that's just gotta suck. Anyway, moving onward, Sam White in the Citroen here. He's gonna bump the Hyundai because, you know, just clearly the Hyundai just braked way too early and tried to brake check him. And yet, look at that, Sam White is the one that got the 2-second penalty. Isn't that just crazy? You know, it makes me wonder what on earth happened back at the Nations Cup. I'm not going to dwell on that, you know, it's not important, whatever. Anyway, here we are, going on to lap 3. Hyundai's going to come back, and he's a man set for revenge against the Citroen. I can't really say I blame him, but instead the penalty line is going to clear that up for actually both him and me. I'm going to sneak up behind our Citroen friend here, and I'm going to take his position, so now I'm in 5th place. I don't mean to sound rude here or anything, but I'm really surprised that I'm losing to Hyundai up in front. I've always kind of seen them as the Jamaican bobsled team of the World Finals, because they always end up finishing 15 seconds behind the entirety of the crowd. And yet here I am losing to one. In fact, even the Toyota, as nimble as they are, he's going to understeer into the sand trap, so that's a little bit surprising to see. But anyway, whatever. I have Sam White behind me. I'm hoping he's not going to bump me. He has a clear opportunity to, and instead he's going to try to take the apex, take the inside line, and sneak by me. But it's not going to be enough. Maybe he can do it here on turn 1. I'm going to brake a little bit later. Still end up stuck on the outside. There he is. He's got the position back almost, except I still end up passing him. So, pretty crazy to see. I want you to know, this is going to continue for like the next 6 laps of us just going back and forth like this with me defending. So, we're going to cut to a commercial break. We'll come back when something interesting happens.
How it feels to chew 5 gum. Chew 5 gum. Stimulate your senses.
And I do love myself some 5 gum. Really stimulates my senses. Anyway, here we are, lap 11. After 5 laps, it finally happens. I go a little bit wide, and Sam White is going to fishtail me straight out of 4th place in order to claim his position back in possibly the most questionable method that you could ever ask for. But the game decides that it's fine. There's nothing wrong with that pass whatsoever. Professionals pass each other like that all the time. Like Lewis Hamilton is just known for that. So, well, there he goes, Sam White. Good on you. I'm glad you got your 4th place back. You know what? Maybe it's actually me. Maybe it's my spent tires. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to pull into the pits. Going to swap onto a new set of fresh, soft tires. Just soft as cake. And I can see that my team, they've now swapped out of the red, white, and blue setup. Now they're just wearing dark blue. I'm like, yeah, guys, you know, the color here is yellow and black, but you guys can put whatever you want. Come out in t-shirts next time for all I care. It really doesn't matter. Up behind the Toyota, however, I'm going to get past him without not too much of an issue up here. Just slip right on by. Now I have the Mercedes in front of me. I see his brake lights come on, just kind of stay on for the entirety around. And just... for some reason, this stupid motherfucker decides to just stop right in the middle of the track. And, oh, look at that! A 4-second penalty! So, now I can say I've been both penalized for apparently brake checking someone and hitting someone while they were brake checking me. I don't know. I don't really believe it was necessarily a brake check on his part. I think he just got confused on where the pit entrance was. But stupid son of a bitch stayed right in the middle of the track for the entirety of that. So, anyway, I think I just skipped over a clip altogether. I just forgot what it was because I needed to rant and get that out of the way. Stuck behind the Toyota again. He's slipping off to the side. Gonna enter the pits right about there. What the hell was that? Yeah, so I'm hearing ghosts creeping around this track. Turns out they're gonna start haunting me throughout the rest of this race. all of that, finally on the last lap, we'd be coming in 5th place. Isn't that just kind of crazy? We ended up just about the same place as last time. I'm going to say, honestly, thanks to penalties, but whatever. Here we are. I guess 5th place, really not too bad for a Ford GTLM. Probably could have done better in a more nimble car, but I wanted to go with Ford for this series, but not too bad, not too shabby. Let's see how bad of an effect did it have on my SR. I'm praying not too much, because I certainly would like to contest a couple of those calls there, but I'm expecting maybe down to a B at this point. Please, for the love of God, no, don't have anything lower. Oh. Damn thing actually went up. You know what? Okay, game. Okay, whatever you say, Gran Turismo. Anyway, guys, that's it for this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all that other bullshit. I'm going to be uploading something a little bit different in a little bit, but we'll see you guys next video.